Come on, champ! Come on, champ!
Let's get one thing absolutely crystal clear before we go any further. This fight was never supposed to happen. It defies logic, it defies physics, and frankly, it defies basic human decency. And yet, here we are, because when you combine the most calculated, infuriatingly untouchable technician in boxing history with the single most terrifying human being to ever lace up a pair of gloves, the universe doesn't ask questions. It just screams, take my money. In one corner, you have Floyd Money Mayweather Jr.
Double that. Double that. Double jab right hand. Come on. Look right. Jab for jab. Jab for jab. Jab with right hand. Drop.
He said, how you like a man? I'm an old man. I'm an old man. Come on. So record the old man. Whoa. He turned it up now.
50 wins, 0 losses, and an ego large enough to blot out the sun. This is a man who does not return to the ring for love of the sport, for glory, or for legacy. He comes back for one reason, and one reason only. Cold, hard, obscene, jaw-dropping, make your accountant cry cash. If your check doesn't have enough zeros to make him raise an eyebrow over his diamond-encrusted reading glasses, he isn't answering your calls. He calls it Mayweather money.
Get back. Get back. Right to him, right to him, right to him, right to him. I have to catch up. Hit brother, Frank. I should flip roll. I should. Right, flip it. Stop. Slip roll. Slip is that roll. Hachi. Roll.
And honestly, that's not arrogance. That's just branding. In the other corner. And we use the word corner loosely because chaos does not really have corners. You have Mike Tyson, the man, the myth, the literal force of nature who once bit off a piece of a man's ear mid-fight and somehow still had fans defending him before the blood dried. Tyson doesn't train like other boxers. Tyson doesn't think like other boxers. Tyson, at this point in his life, has decided that structure is for buildings, and he is not a building. He is...
Woo!
the demolition event. This is where it gets genuinely historically poetic. Because Mayweather and Tyson don't just fight differently. They exist differently. Mayweather is discipline made flesh. Every training session, every food choice, every defensive maneuver is the product of decades of obsessive, monastic precision. You want to hit Mayweather? Congratulations. You cannot.
Oh. Hook right hand. Right hand hook. Again. Hook right hand.
He will let your fist graze past his ear at a speed that makes your knuckles feel insulted, and then he will throw 6 punches while you're still processing the embarrassment. His heavy bag sessions are legendary. Not because they are flashy, because they are relentless. High volume, rhythmic, mechanical, hypnotic. The man is a human metronome with a 50-0 record and a custom jet. Tyson, on the other hand, has declared war on strategy itself. His philosophy is ancient, primal, and terrifying in its simplicity.
Well, if you don't know, I want to tell everybody this. The last time I made 25 million, I made more, but last time I made 25 million was 10 years ago.
Wow.
I'm not bragging or boasting, I'm just telling the truth. I'm appreciative and thankful. $25 million is still great money.
Sure.
But
it's not Mayweather money.
well, you know, for the last, I don't know how many years, the lowest, my guaranteed lowest, is be like 32, a little bit over 32. That's my lowest. But you'll also know that in the Canelo fight, you know, I made over 100 million in that fight. And then in a Pacquiao, just in 2 fights.
Oh my God.
Pacquiao and Canelo, those 2 fights, somewhere upwards of 400 million. I mean, probably $400 million or better. And just me and sponsorship money. Leading up to the Pacquiao fight, that week I made somewhere 25 to 30 million.
Wow, that's crazy.
So these are my numbers. And, you know, they can say Floyd lying all they want to. If I was so desperate and hurting for money, I'll come back.
Be unpredictable. Stay nervous. Fear is not the enemy. Overconfidence is. Tyson has openly argued that the moment a fighter stops being scared, they start getting knocked out. He keeps his edge sharpened not on a whetstone of technique, but on the ragged flint of anxiety. He walks into a ring not with a game plan, but with an intention.
You're in phenomenal shape. You look shredded. You're supposed to fight Floyd next month, correct?
Yeah, next month, the month from now, we ready, whatever.
How do you beat the shoulder roll? He's 50 and 0.
Huh?
How do you crack the shoulder roll?
Happens, you never know. Hey, listen, I think this established my importance in the boxing world more so than the amateur, than the professional fighting, because this is the future. You know, Mike Tyson got a great name.
And that intention is somewhere between end this immediately and I cannot be held responsible for what happens next. Oscar De La Hoya, a man who knows a thing or two about both glory and ruin inside a boxing ring, stepped forward with a verdict before a single punch was thrown.
Guys, one last question, okay?
What part fear plays in the career of a fighter?
Well, if you're not crazy and you're doing this, you're insane, okay? So I worry about guys that are not nervous before fighting because they'll never be a great fighter. Because when you're scared, you avoid pain, you avoid getting hit. And if you're one of those guys that have no fear, you're gonna constantly get hit. And you're not gonna end the game finish. By the time you finish fighting, you'll be talking another language. And that's what happens to those tough guys. End of their career, they're speaking another language.
His pick? Mayweather. His reasoning? Discipline? Conditioning. The kind of mental sharpness that doesn't rust, doesn't fade, and doesn't flinch. According to De La Hoya, Floyd's greatest weapon has never been his hands. It's the 6 inches between his ears. The man thinks 3 moves ahead while you're still loading the first one. Who
do you think would win it? If it's a real fight, because that's what Pacquiao wants, it seems.
Yeah, I think Mayweather will. I think Mayweather will take it. Yeah, one thing about Mayweather you have to understand is he's always taking care of himself. Like his body, physically, mentally. He's always been very sharp and always staying in the gym and doing something physically, right? That's the big advantage he has. I mean, he's an athlete. He's a world-class athlete. Watching Pacquiao's last fight, yeah, you kind of feel.
Fight this big, on a stage this enormous, the fighter who controls his psychology controls the outcome. And nobody controls their psychology like Floyd Mayweather Jr. Then there's Dan Rafael, veteran boxing analyst, man who has seen it all And his take?
I feel bad for him, and even though he did win and he did, I guess, pull off a surprise in his last fight with a draw against the world champion, but still you tend to kind of like feel bad because it's not the same Pacquiao. It's definitely not the same Pacquiao I faced. That's for sure. The one that put me on my stool in the 9th round. But I still think that Mayweather will pull this one off. I mean, if that happens.
Buckle up, because it's the most honest thing said about this entire circus. This is not a competitive boxing event. This is a spectacle, a blockbuster, a globally packaged entertainment product dressed in boxing shorts. Rafael doesn't say this with contempt. He says it with the calm.
Regular person that's scrolling through Netflix to see what's on a weekend night, they're going to look and say, oh, Mayweather, Pacquiao, I know those guys. They're as famous as any boxers in the world. And if it doesn't cost me any extra money and I'm just paying my normal subscription, I'll check it out. And it's going to do big numbers. That's why Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson did the numbers it did. And that's why, we saw them be interested in a fight like Jake Paul against Anthony Joshua and the other events that they have done. Tyson Fury's come back as they try to, build up more in the UK. And this is going to be
calm certainty of a man who understands that the modern sports landscape doesn't just sell fights anymore. It sells mythology. It sells the collision of two eras, two philosophies, two personalities so enormous that they generate their own gravitational pull. And you know what? Rafael is right. But here's the wild, inconvenient truth that nobody wants to fully admit.
It's the same situation. They put out a lot of money to do the fight, but not as much as what obviously they generated in 2015. And, it'll be a big event, but how much of a fight it will be, who the heck knows? But I mean, to answer the question, I'm not like looking forward to it, but it's one of those things that, you got to write about, you got to cover, and you got to, be involved in, because it's still two of the greatest, most famous fighters.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether this is the most technically pure contest of ring generalship or the most gloriously absurd pay-per-view money grab since two of the richest athletes on earth decided they were bored. Because the moment those two men stand across from each other under those lights, with the whole world leaning forward in their seats, something real happens. Legacy meets legacy. Precision squares off against chaos.
Went to the other guy's promotional team.
You remember that, ref?
I do remember a few of them, but I'm gonna tell you like this, I don't call no names because, I don't like to drop no salt. But in the second Bernard Hopkins fight, this referee, I could tell right away, was for that side and not this side.
Completely, but you've got to remember, these guys are individuals, their fathers, their brothers, or whatever, and they still want to earn a massive chunk of money. Where's Mike Tyson? Whatever they're getting paid. Where's Mike Tyson at 59 going to earn this kind of money? Where's Floyd Mayweather at this time of life going to make this kind of money? It doesn't matter what we say about legacy. These guys are still going to live. These guys are still thinking, you know what, I'll take the heat, I'll take the criticism, but you know what, my bank account's all right, my family's all right. And I know it's crude, and I know it takes the shine off it, but that's real talk. So these guys are now in a position where where people want to pay them a lot of money to fight each other. It's against somebody they don't like. So again, ego's going to get the better of common sense with Mike, as far as I'm concerned.
The philosopher king of defense stares down the most dangerous puncher who ever put on gloves. Mayweather brings the blueprint. 50 fights, 50 victories, not a single blemish. A record so pristine it almost looks fake, like someone printed undefeated in bold type and just refused to update it. He trained for this like a man who has too much to lose, too much already won, and not 1 ounce of patience for embarrassment at this stage of life. Every jab is a press release. Every shoulder roll is a statement. Floyd Mayweather is not fighting Mike Tyson. Floyd Mayweather is protecting a brand. Tyson brings the fire, the fear, the spectacular, nerve-shredding possibility that at any given moment, in any given second, something ancient and explosive happens in that man's chest, and the whole carefully constructed chess match becomes an inferno. His instincts are not trained. They are forged, carved out of a childhood that could have broken him, channeled into a career that at its peak was simply unmatched for sheer, primal, stop-the-world dominance. When Tyson snorts through his nose guard and rolls his shoulders forward, the whole arena goes quiet, not out of respect, out of, so here's the final word, the unapologetic truth dressed up in the sequined jacket of entertainment. Mayweather versus Tyson is legacy, money, chaos, discipline, instinct, and spectacle, rolled into one beautiful, ridiculous, absolutely unmissable event. You will watch it. Your neighbor will watch it. The guy at the gas station who claims he doesn't follow boxing will watch it. Because this isn't really about boxing anymore. It's about two human forces of nature sharing the same 20-foot canvas and asking the universe who blinks first. And if you think you know the answer, you haven't been paying attention.